Good morning, everybody. I would like to begin today's meeting by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we are gathered and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee meeting of the 9th of July 2025. I declare this meeting open at 9 a.m. and I'd like to advise attendees in the room this meeting is being webcast and audio recorded. We'll now move on to leaves of absence. I have received a leave of absence from Councillor St Ledger and Councillor Fraser, and we will do these individually. That's okay. All good.
We can just read it out.
That's okay. That a leave of absence be granted to Councillor St Ledger in accordance with section 5.3c of the Local Government and Committee Meeting Code, with the provided reason being personal leave. Do I have a mover? Councillor Jackson, seconder. Councillor Russell, all those in favour? That has been carried. And for Councillor Fraser, I don't think this one works. It's all right. If not, I can read that one out as well. Okay, that a leave of absence be granted to Councillor Fraser under the Local Government Act, reason for being unwell. Do I have a mover? Councillor Wilcox, seconder. Councillor Hall, all those in favour? That has been carried. Thank you. I also note that Mayor Raven is running a bit late at the moment, but I believe we have everybody else in the room. So, okay. Confirmation of previous committee meetings. There is a motion displayed on the screen. Maybe. It's all good. All good. Things always happen. Yep, that's all right. That the minutes of the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee meeting held on the 11th of June 2025 be confirmed. Do I have a mover? Deputy Mayor Bannon, seconder, Councillor Murphy, all those in favour? It's been carried with the exception of Councillor Bradley. How do you vote?
I'll abstain. I was unwell at that time.
Thank you.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Just on that, I was absent yesterday and managed to watch yesterday's proceedings last night. It's been 3 weeks since the last committee meeting, so I'd assume that councillors would follow their duty of care in probably informing themselves of what happened in the previous round of council meetings. So, yep.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Lane. So that's your basis of the point of order? Yes? Yes. Can I have a response from Councillor Bradley, please?
I'll leave it as is. You can decide. Thank you.
Look, I absolutely understand your position, Councillor Lane, but I think we'll just leave it at this point. So, thank you. We will move on to declarations of conflicts of interest. I now refer to conflicts of interest. Do any councillors wish to declare a conflict today? No? Okay, we will move on to GB. Councillors, do you have any general business for the Health, Climate and Conservation Manager, Mr. Brett Espenson? No? Brett, do you have any GB for us?
Through the chair, no, I do not. Thank you.
No problem. I'll let you get back to your day. Thank you. Do we have any general business for the Development Assessment Manager, Mr. Stephen Ball?
Through the chair, no, I don't.
Oh, Councillor Wilcox.
I have some GB for Stephen, if
that's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, I only just gave him this bit of a heads up, so apologies for this. I just wanted to know, I have some interfacing issues from PDA into Flagstone, so it's from Pebble Creek into Flagstone, with some houses and how their backyards have been built. They were all built with approvals for batters on the Pebble Creek side. Some of those residents have now changed the batters and have now constructed retaining walls in them. So just wondering, with retaining wall approvals, how high do they have to be for approvals and who approves them once they're constructed in the PDA?
Through the chair, the just to start, the PDAs are a matter for Economic Development Queensland. They do the approvals, they have their own development scheme, but then they also have individual approvals with conditions within them. So in order for me to answer the question specifically about what the wall heights are, I'd actually need to look at the individual approvals across each of their sites. So I can certainly come back to you on that. But yeah, in terms of those assessments, those are undertaken by EDQ and not by council, and so we'd have to look at those approvals.
So in the first place, if residents have concerns or questions regarding the houses that are getting built behind them, they should essentially go to EDQ or the state member, not necessarily council.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. And you mentioned you don't have any GB for us?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Wonderful. You have a good day. Thank you. Councillors, do we have any general business for the Waste and Resource Recovery Manager, Mr. Michael Asnakar? No. Michael, do you have any for us?
Not this morning, Chair.
All right. Have a good day. Thank you. All right. We have 2 reports today, and I will begin with item 6.1, Proposed Overseas Mission to Expo 2025 Osaka, Japan. I note that 6.1 is a public report, and I'll now refer the Economic Development and City Planning Manager, Mr. David Radich, to please speak to the report.
Good morning, councillors, and through the chair. So the purpose of this report is and somewhat administrative, as we need a council resolution under the corporate travel policy for individuals to travel overseas. So we've received a endorsement from ELT for this travel, and then the second endorsement is for a council resolution for this travel. So the proposed travel is over 5 days, and it's to seek a delegation for a delegate of the mayor to travel, being the chair, to the Osaka Expo. The current budget sits within the Economic Development and Strategy branch, so under our Global Connections strategy, which we've had for some time. And the proposal is that a delegate of the mayor, being the chair, travels to the Osaka Expo, and there's also an additional recommendation in the report that says that the outcomes of that trip will come back to council for endorsement. So the itinerary, the costs are within the report, as well as the recommendations. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Dave. Any questions? Deputy Mayor Bannon.
Thank you, through the chair. Well, there's been some issues raised recently, especially on social media and Council Bradley's social media, regarding rate failure funded trips overseas for the mayor, not myself, and the delegates, which is obviously staff, which is yourselves included, and about land memberships, and they will provide $0 revenue to the city. Yourselves or the director, in your opinions as the professionals in the field, and what benefits. So can you explain what benefits the city get from things like the mayor going to the expo or to the UN, and to this trip here where this chair is going to go to it, please?
So through the chair, so I can speak to some of the benefits of the trip that I went on with yourself, Councillor Bannon, Deputy Mayor Bannon, to New Zealand. So that trip we met with investors. They continue to show an interest in investing within the city. However, that investment hasn't come through. But noting that there's usually there's usually a lag of time between when we have an introduction with an investor until when we actually see a transaction on the ground. That can, at a minimum, that can be a year. At a maximum, that can probably be about 10 years in my experience. Reflecting on our trip to New Zealand, I think it was a two-way reciprocal trip. So after myself and the Deputy Mayor met with the Hamilton City Council Mayor.
Councillor Bradley, what's
The
your point of
report
order?
is about the trip to Japan. Is this line of communication, is it relevant to the report?
Yeah, I do understand your position. I guess I'm just what I'm hearing is he's trying to understand the benefits of these sorts of trips in general, and I guess that's where I believe Dave is explaining that. So I will let him just carry on if that's okay at this time, because I believe he is explaining the benefits of these sorts of trips.
Thank you. So just building on what I was saying before, so shortly after we met with the Mayor of Hamilton, they established their water entity. So based on some information that we had provided to them and we had spoke about Logan Water, they've now established a council-controlled entity being a water business. We continue to talk to hotels that are interested in coming to Logan. We also have taken away a great deal of information from Hamilton about how they actually co-fund hotels and take equity stakes in the hotels, which is really interesting. So I guess I'm just explaining that broadly. If we were to travel to Sydney or travel to the Gold Coast and talk to those councils about what they do, they generally all do the same thing. There's a lot of value in seeing how other legislation works and how other councils operate outside of Australia.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Radich. And if you're okay, Madam Chair, just the trip to the UN, look, and this is great, you bang on. I need these decisions because obviously I need to make a decision here to approve the travel. So I need to see, because the questions were raised, I'd like to know myself if these things are a good thing, which is exactly why I'm asking these questions, Madam Chair.
I guess, Deputy Mayor Banner, I feel like we've got an understanding of the benefits of these trips from Dave, though.
Yeah, I'm just worried about the zero revenue for the city. I just want to know, do we actually get money for that?
Honestly, I feel like we've got an insight from Dave as to the benefits of this sort of travel. And, if you want me to talk about this trip in specifics, I'm happy to. I've certainly done some research in this space and happy to throw my 2 cents worth in. But
I'd love you to put your 2 cents worth in, but you're the chair, so it's up to you what you decide.
Yeah, well, look, I guess my position is that I believe David explained the benefits, and in terms of this trip itself, I mean, it's an opportunity. There's 70 countries coming together in one location, a sustainability week where we can learn from the best in the world, and I just feel like this is an extraordinary opportunity to get in there, talk to people, and see what's happening around the world, and bring it back to us and seeing what we can do better. So that's my comment there.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm definitely happy to support this.
Thank you. Any further questions, Councillor Bradley?
Thank you. Mr. Radich, have any hotels come to our city from overseas travels?
Through the chair, so this council's been travelling overseas for 30 years. I believe the last hotel built in Logan was 20 years ago, so I guess the answer to that is in the short term, no. But in the last 10 years, there's been a series of incentives that have become available to make it more attractive for hotels to establish themselves within the city.
Thank you. Yes, I do recall those incentives from 2016. Has anyone taken up those incentives?
Through the chair, I'll have to take that on notice. I believe that there are some approvals. Sorry, no, to answer that question, yes, someone has taken up that incentive.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. Okay, no further questions. Do we have a mover for the motion? Councillor Murphy, do we have a seconder? Deputy Mayor Bannon, all those in favour? It has been carried with the exception of Councillor Bradley. How do you vote?
Abstain.
And Councillor Heremiah?
Against.
Thank you. All right, we will now move on to item 6.2, Gold Coast and Faster Rail Project Interface Agreement. I know that 6.2 is a confidential report. A proposed resolution to move in confidential is displayed on the screen. Do any councillors wish to move into a closed session for this item? No? Okay then. No, all good? Where am I? Sorry. All right then, I will now refer to the Placemaking and Urban Design Program Leader, Mrs. Ella Duplessis, to please speak to the report, keeping in mind we're not in a closed session.
Through the chair, I'll then keep the presentation quite short. So the purpose of this report is to seek approval from Council that the interface agreement relating to the Logan and Gold Coast Faster Rail project between the Department of Transport and Main Roads and Council be entered to and signed off on behalf of the Chief Executive Officer. Now, this project is funded by the state government and federal government, and it will really deliver significant benefit to the Logan community through the upgrade of public infrastructure and the delivery of significant amount of return works, inclusive of road upgrades, bridges, and active transport corridor, public realm upgrades, bus infrastructure, outside station boundaries, and public utility upgrades. Construction has started on the Logan Lee Station relocation project with expected completion by 2027, and the contract for the rail package has been awarded to the preferred alliance partner, Activus, who has commenced with the development of management plans and progressing the design of the project. Now, we've circulated an amended recommendation relating to this project to really ensure that we can adequately address some outstanding matters relating to the interface agreement. This recommendation was circulated to councillors for review, and that will reduce council's risk to council and ensure that council can make sure that our requirements are captured in this interface agreement, and standards that are applicable to the return works will be delivered as part of the project. So it is recommended that the interface agreement between the state government and the department represented by the Department of Transport and Main Roads and Council be entered to and signed on behalf of Council by the Chief Executive Officer, provided that the matters as outlined in the report of the Director, Growth, Economy and Sustainability, item 6.2, dated 9 July, are resolved and agreed. Changes to the interface agreement be made to the Chief Executive Officer's satisfaction. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ella. We have Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much to you, Madam Chair. This is not a reflection of council staff in any way, shape or form, but what we're asked to do today is to sign off on something that we haven't seen. We haven't read, we haven't viewed, we don't know the impact to the local area, mine, Division 6, Division 12, and we don't know the impact to the budget in the future. So I'll be voting against this today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Any other questions? Councillor Wilcox.
Just in reflection on that, I'm just interested to hear from the other councillors who this affects. Councillor Murphy, Councillor Hall.
Through the chair, we did have meetings with regards to this particular project, with regards to the lands that are affected. I'm happy to proceed. But, excuse me, through the chair, is that correct, that compared to the one that was sent to us? The amendment? Yeah. I just double checking. Yeah, no, that's fine. In the process, could we hear from Councillor Hall? While you're checking that, Councillor Hall?
Yeah, it's part of the process, so for us to go forward with this is something that needs to happen.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Would you like to respond to that at all, Ella or Dave?
Through the chair, TMR is responsible for community consultation on this project, and my understanding is that they will be briefing councillors in the August committee round, but I'm happy to take any further questions.
Thank you. Councillor Lane.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The Local Government Act clearly states that councillors must make decisions in accordance with law and policy, exercising proper diligence, care and attention. Voting on something that you haven't seen, that you don't know the impact of, is not exercising due diligence and attention and care. That's not. It's great that they've told us which properties they're resuming, but they haven't told us where exit points are on the pedestrian access. They haven't told us the impact on local suburbs for different things that they're doing. They haven't told us whether or not we're going to be required to undertake work that's going to cost council a considerable amount of money. I just think that in pushing forward on this, it's great that we've had some briefing, but officers cannot brief us on the full project because of confidentiality, which means we're making decisions without the full information, which is what we're not meant to do, is my understanding.
Sorry, through the chair, I just want to propose, is there an issue if we were to defer this until August then, in light of, like, after we have the briefing?
Through the chair, that is an option available to council to defer the decision until the briefing from TMR. There's also the option for elected officials to sign confidentiality relating to the project, which will then allow officers to brief on some of the design solutions that's available, and that's not in the public domain.
Could I propose an amended motion that we defer until the August round?
We could certainly receive the receive the report, and then basically bring it up again in August. Sorry, Dave. Yes.
Through the chair, thank you, and completely understand the sentiment of the room. This decision today isn't to approve the faster rail project. That's already been approved. The decision is to give the CEO some delegations subject to those clauses, so we can keep moving forward with the project. But you know, if we were under the impression that TMR was going to come in for a briefing before full council, before ordinary council, the timing didn't quite work for them. We found out yesterday, so now they are proposing an August briefing.
Thank you, Dave. Look, what we might do, we will test the original motion, if that's okay, and then if certainly put through your alternative motion, the amended motion. So we just want to confirm that that is the amended motion. Are you happy with that, Dave? Can you just confirm that, please? Okay. All right, so we have the amended motion that was circulated. Apart from the word, the director of Growth, Economy and Sustainability removed, because we normally don't put that into a resolution. So can everyone just check that? Sorry, can't you?
Sorry, Chair. Is this the original motion or the...
This is the original, as in, there's an original motion, there was an amended...
Because it says amended up there.
Yes,
I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, through the chair. Councillor Bradley, yesterday I sent an email around to all councillors saying that I was forecasting an amendment, which was really just to lock in that role of the Chief Executive Officer to have final say on signing the agreement, give some extra protections. Yeah.
Yep. Councillor Jackson?
So if council has already agreed to the project, what is this changing or adding to it? Is it putting at risk anything that was not already at risk by the decisions we've already made in terms of community impact?
Through the chair, this project is a project delivered by the state government. So council, through the interface agreement, we will have provide input into the design review process, and that is our best option to get the best outcome for the community. And that's what the interface agreement will set out in a lot of detail. There's prescribed timeframes to respond to information that gets issued to TMR, to council to respond to. And if council don't respond to some of that information, it would be deemed that council is accepting of the information provided. So, for example, if a plan is issued, if we don't respond or provide input, it is deemed to council accepting that outcome. So there's risk in council not participating in the process, but at the same time we have the opportunity to participate and get the best outcome for the community, and that process is set out in the interface agreement. So that agreement is really relating to the process of the design review process and the returned works that will be coming back to council and delivered as part of this project. But we don't have the ability to approve works that will be delivered as part of the project. That is sitting with the state. I hope that clarifies it.
I think so. Yeah. So can I try and repeat back to you what I think you said, is that if we vote approve this, it increases our capacity to input or advocate, argue for better outcomes, not decreases them.
Yes, at the moment we have no agreement in place around the design review process, so we are acting in good faith in responding to the matter. So this will just capture exactly what Returned Works Council will be getting, and then also making sure that we're getting the right standards and requirements included into the technical scope and requirements for the project, because we want to make sure that TMR design the project, especially Returned Works, that council's getting to our standards and requirements and not necessarily just TMR standards and requirements.
Thank you. Councillor Lane.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and I appreciate what you just said, Ella. One of the things is that we don't know what we don't know, and we don't know it because we haven't seen any of the plans or any of the scope of work, so we don't know the impact. We're relying on officers who may or may not live in the local area to come up with a set of solutions that don't suit the local community, and without elected members' input, that's not the best outcome for our community. I would imagine that you've been negotiating, it's probably 3 years since Faster Rail was first, and you've been negotiating in good faith with them all this time. 1 month until we get the briefing from TMR shouldn't make that much of an impact on your ability to feed back ideas and information. I appreciate that the CEO is the leader of the organisation, but again, he doesn't know my community, he doesn't know the ins and outs of it, and if there's something that's going to impact it as part of these decisions, he's not coming to me to talk to me about it. So I have concerns around this because I don't know what the plans are, I don't know the impact on our community, and neither does any other councillor unless they've signed that confidentiality gag agreement. So, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. I have Councillor Hall.
Thank you, through the chair. I'm probably just going to say this and dumb it down more so for myself than for anyone else, but from my understanding is that if we agree to this, council's in a position to know more and to have an opportunity to ask more questions and learn more about the project than if we don't. If we don't, they will just go ahead and do what they're going to do anyway. Even though we will know more, they're going to go ahead and do more anyway, but at least by knowing more, we can kind of better prepare ourselves for what they eventually will decide to do in the matter of the Faster Rail going down. Is that correct?
Through the chair, the project at this stage, the agreement just sets out the overall, it doesn't go into the actual details. It refers to a point in time with a design and a point in time, and then it defines a process. So it provides us with that opportunity to then influence the outcome. So by agreeing to getting the agreement in place, and we've qualified that there's certain updates to the agreement that need to be implemented prior to recommending the ACO to execute the agreement. And once that is done, that would satisfy officers that, you know, that council standards will be applied to the works that will be delivered as part of this project, and will allow us as much input into the process as possible.
I just want to reply. It's difficult because there's things you learn in this role about the Faster Rail which you believe will really have a detriment to your community, but you're unable to share it because it's simply, as the case, their plans change. You know, they can say that they're going to do this, but then you find out 6 months later that has completely changed, and that's absolutely not what they're going to do at all. So it does put councillors in a very difficult situation in terms of we want the community to know what's happening in their area, but we simply cannot. I think whatever we can do to get more information and influence TMR, even if it's in the smallest way, is very important to us, and for that reason, that is the reason why I'm going to be voting for this.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll test the original motion, if that's all right, and the amended motion, and the original amended motion, and then we'll Councillor Wilcox has obviously put through an alternative, and we'll see how it Councillor Bradley.
Sorry, through the chair. I don't know what the alternative is. Is it possible?
No, as in, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the alternative is to receive the report, and then it'll be brought back in August after the informal council meeting briefing of TMR. Yes. Councillor Russell.
Thank you, Chair. And I'm sorry if someone's already asked this and this has been answered, but what are we putting at risk by waiting waiting another month?
Through the chair, I don't think waiting another month is going to delay things catastrophically. And if that's the decision and if that's the sentiment of council, happy to go that way. I just think there needs to be a bit of an acknowledgement that TMR has put us in this situation we are now communicating in a non-confidential arena about a confidential project, and we have asked TMR to come and brief council to inform a decision. They were unable to do that. We believe that they are lined up for August to brief council, and I hope that you all are able to attend that. So to answer the question, it's not going to be catastrophic waiting for another committee round.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Councillor Russell. Dave just wanted to make a comment, and then I'll get Councillor Bradley.
Thanks through the chair. I was just going to echo those comments. This isn't of our design, and it's going to continue to be an issue throughout the life of the project as the state delivers hopefully great things in Logan. We're going to have to resolve whether we, as officers, are ever allowed to participate in these discussions where we're covered by confidentiality agreements, or whether councillors would prefer that that's not the case and we don't have a seat at the table. One thing, and Ella might want to clarify, but we're waiting on some support for resources to help us manage this process. So the state has committed that we'll get, I think it's a couple of FTEs. Ella's team and the RIP team have been managing this through discretionary effort. That is becoming untenable. We get thousands of pages of design information and told to turn them around in 3 days. This agreement signing was going to help us move on those resources quicker. So there is a gap, I guess, between now and August, and hopefully they stay true to August. If it slips back, we're in no man's land for longer. So there is no guarantee that they're coming in August. Just like we thought they were coming between now and ordinary council. So that whilst we will not take our eye off the ball and we'll still stay participating as much as we can, the scope of the information requests are becoming unmanageable, and that has been we've been in that headspace for 6 months. So I'm just forecasting that as an issue, that I can't keep asking this team to step into the breach when all this agreement was really doing was putting structure around our participation. Like Ella said, agreeing what those returned works will look like. They're yet to be defined. We've got a journey to go on to understand the project in more detail. This was going to help. So there will be a small delay to our participation.
Thank you, Dave. Councillor Bradley, you didn't want to speak? Okay, I have Councillor Lane and then Mayor Raven.
Thanks very much. As discussed, Ella, I'm happy to sign a confidentiality agreement so that I can actually better understand the impact on my community before making a decision of this magnitude. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Mayor Raven.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and apologies for being late. Was running a citizenship ceremony. Can I just clarify for the councillors that are proposing deferral, the reason you want to defer is sort of to send a bit of a message to TMR that, no? So, because they were supposed to provide us a briefing before this meeting, so the reason you want, but what if they don't provide you, what if they don't provide you a briefing on the 11th?
Can I answer that, Madam Chair? So I've just literally said that I'm happy to sign a confidentiality agreement so I can make the best decision for my community when I go to vote on this. I'm not voting on something that I haven't seen, haven't read, and have no idea what's contained within it. That's not what it says in the Local Government Act that we have to do. So I'm just following that, and if it takes signing a confidentiality agreement so that I'm better across it, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, I understand that part, but they're not offering confidentiality agreements to elected members, though, are they? Are they?
Through the chair, it's my understanding that, and I'm happy to check whether that is applicable to elected officials as well, but my understanding is if the councillors sign confidentiality and conflict of interest declarations relating to this project, they can receive confidential information relating to the project. Okay. Obviously, they're not allowed to divulge any of that information to the public.
That's a given. We've been asking for that for like years and years, and told no every time we said they were happy to have officers but not elected members, basically, is my understanding. Is that right, Dave? Sorry, through you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I don't recall, Mr Mayor, whether that's ever been, I don't remember that being a discussion. I just wonder whether, like everyone in the room here has to vote, is that something that everyone's happy to sign up to, those confidentiality agreements, or project by project? It's fine if I just need that sort of direction.
Even if you've just got like a working group that represents council, can't tell us what it is, but can tell us you're confident in it, I'd be more comfortable with that, because I don't think every council wants to show up to massive briefings from TMR on, a monthly basis?
I'm just, sorry, through the chair, I'm just checking because the divisional councils who are affected by the station upgrades have been briefed from time to time to a limited degree of detail. And there was differing views in this room about who's happy to proceed with this agreement based on those briefings that they've received. So I didn't know whether it's a specific divisional issue or whether it's everyone having to vote issue.
And the reason, and thank you for your indulgence, Madam Chair, and the reason that you want to defer is purely so you can see what the confidential briefing is.
Well, number one, it was either an option of briefing from TMR where we could ask questions on the project and hopefully sniff out some more stuff, or B, sign a confidentiality agreement. And just to be clear, I'm not trying to bind any councillor to signing a confidentiality agreement now or into the future. I just don't think you can vote on something you don't know what is contained in the report. That's madness.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you, Mayor Raven. Are there any other questions, comments? Okay, we have the original amended motion on the board. Do we have a mover? Councillor Hall, do we have a seconder? Councillor Murphy, all those in favour? Okay, we'll go around the room. Councillor Bradley, how do you vote?
For.
Councillor Lane?
Against.
Councillor Russell?
Against.
Councillor Jackson?
For.
Councillor Hall?
For.
Mayor Raven?
For.
Councillor Jeremiah?
Against.
Deputy Mayor Bannon?
Against.
Councillor Wilcox?
Against.
And Councillor Murphy?
For.
And I'm for. Heavy land. So that has been carried. Thank you, councillors. All right, moving on. Councillors, do you have any general business for Dave Radich? Dave, do you have any for us?
Through the chair, no, I do not.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. All right. Well, that concludes the agenda for today. Does anyone have any general business for the Director of Growth, Economy and Sustainability? Deputy Mayor Bannon.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Just with the policy for the travel, is that normal? Like, is that in terms before? Did you come through with every single travel thing, or is it something that we're trying to change as a policy? I just don't know. Like for the last 20 years, every time the delegates travel, did they have to come through and council approve it, or is just for clarification for me? That's all it is.
Yeah, through the chair, all international travel except for New Zealand requires a council endorsement, regardless of whether it's fully funded or council's participating funding under the current policy.
We don't classify New Zealand as overseas.
I don't know where that came from. I wasn't here at the time, but yeah.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Oh, good. Thank you. No other GB? No worries. Great. Okay, there being none, I therefore declare the City Planning, Economic Development Environment Committee of the 9th of July concluded at 9:37, and the City Lifestyle meeting will commence in 10 minutes at 9:47. Thank you.